February 20th, 2003, Paris, France. A plane lands at Charles de Gaulle Airport. A man steps off. He is wearing a designer suit. His shoes are polished. His posture is perfect. He moves like royalty, because in his world, he is royalty. Behind him, an entourage of dozens follows. Musicians, dancers, road crew, or so they claim. French border officials are watching. Something is wrong. 200 people. One musician's name, 0 instruments. Within hours, one of the most celebrated artists in African history is in a French prison cell. His name is Jules Shungu Wembadio Pene Kikumba. The world knows him as Papa Wemba, and what comes next will divide an entire continent. To understand what Papa Wemba did, and why, you have to understand who he was. He was born in 1949 in Lubafu, in what was then the Belgian Congo. His mother was a professional mourner, a woman paid to sing at funerals and wakes. She took her young son with her to every ceremony. Music became his first language. Grief became his first classroom. His father wanted him to be a journalist, a lawyer, something respectable. Music had other plans. By 1969, the young Papa Wemba had arrived in Kinshasa, the beating heart of African music, and joined a revolutionary new band called Zaiko Langa Langa. They took Congolese rumba, added electric guitars, raised the tempo, and set the continent on fire. By 1977, he had founded his own group, Viva la Musica. His sound was smoother, more international, more seductive. But music was only half his identity. Papa Wemba was also the self-proclaimed king of la Sapé, the Société des Ambianceurs et des Personnes Élégantes, a movement built around one radical idea, that a poor man in a perfect suit is a powerful man, that elegance is resistance, that style is survival. In Kinshasa, he was not just a musician, he was a symbol. Europe loved him, Africa worshipped him. His tours were events, his entourages were legendary, and inside those entourages, something else was happening. To understand the full story, you cannot ignore what was burning behind it. While Papa Wemba performed in Paris and Brussels, back home in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the country was tearing itself apart. The Congo Wars of the late 1990s and early 2000s became the deadliest conflict on Earth since World War II. 6 million people lost, women raped, cities destroyed, families shattered, and the world looked away. The Congolese passport was useless. Borders were closed. Escape routes were sealed. A generation of young Congolese was trapped in a country bleeding to death, invisible to the international community, ignored by global institutions, abandoned by the very world that had colonized them. No NGO was coming. No government was helping, no door was open, except one. The scheme was simple: pay a fee, get a seat on Papa Wemba's plane, fly to Europe as a member of his touring band, land with legitimate paperwork, disappear into the diaspora. Many of those who paid were middle-class youth. Their parents scraped together the money, reportedly between $3,000 and $4,500 per person, because they believed staying in Congo meant dying in Congo. And for years, it worked. Until 2000, when French immigration officials noticed something strange. 200 people arrived in France claiming to be musicians in Papa Wemba's band. Not one of them was carrying an instrument. An investigation was quietly opened. It ran for 3 years. Then on February 20th, 2003, French authorities made their move. Papa Wemba was arrested and placed under formal investigation for aiding illegal immigration. He was accused of orchestrating a scheme involving up to 300 Congolese nationals, presenting non-musicians as members of his touring entourage to fraudulently obtain European visas. The news hit like a shockwave. Papa Wemba spent 3.5 months in a Paris prison. He was 53 years old. He later said the experience broke him open spiritually. He claimed God visited his cell. He recorded a song about it, Numero de Cru, on his album Somo Trop, released while his trial was still pending. Some believed him, some did not. On June 5, 2003, he posted bail of 30,000 euros and walked free. Reports at the time noted that his bail was paid by the Congolese government itself. Even the state considered him worth saving. 3 months after leaving prison, he was back on a Paris stage. Le Zénith. October 25, 2003. The crowd erupted. A king had fallen. A king had risen. October 2004. The trial begins at the Bobigny Correctional Court, just outside Paris. Papa Wemba stands before the judge and admits it. He helped people enter Europe. He acknowledges helping a few dozen individuals, but denies the full scale alleged by prosecutors, who claimed up to 300 people were involved. His defense is simple. He did it out of humanitarian concern. His country was at war. His people were dying. He did what he could with what he had. The prosecution was unmoved. They called for 5 years imprisonment and a fine of 750,000 euros. On November 16, 2004, the verdict comes. Guilty. 30 months in prison. Most of it suspended. Credit given for the time already served. He would not return to prison. Outside the courthouse, 150 of his fans broke into dance, a guilty verdict, celebrated like a liberation. And this is where Papa Wemba's story becomes far more complicated than a simple tale of a celebrity criminal. Because across the African diaspora, millions of people did not see a smuggler. They saw a man who looked at a burning country, ignored by the world, and used the only power he had to pull people out of the fire. Was it illegal? Yes. The court decided that. But the people he helped were not deceived. They were not trafficked in the traditional sense. They made a conscious choice. Pay the king for a seat on his plane and escape a country where staying meant risking everything. If you were standing in Paris in 2004, it was a crime. If you were standing in Kinshasa in 2002, it may have been the only lifeline you had. 2 worlds. One man caught between them. After his conviction, Papa Wemba returned to the DRC. He continued to record. He continued to perform. He continued to be adored. The scandal never destroyed him because his people never abandoned him. Then came April 24, 2016. Abidjan, Ivory Coast. A live outdoor concert, broadcast on national television. Papa Wemba takes the stage in a glittering costume, singing for his people one more time. And then he collapses. He dies before reaching the hospital. He is 66 years old. The culture minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo confirms his death to the world. An entire continent goes silent. Not just a musician, not just a fashion icon. A man who embodied the impossible contradictions of a people who had been given impossible choices and made them with everything they had. So was Papa Wemba a criminal? Legally, yes. The court decided that. Was he a hero? To hundreds of Congolese families who built new lives in Europe because of him, perhaps. Or maybe he was simply a man caught between 2 worlds, between the glittering stages of Paris and Brussels and the burning streets of Kinshasa, a king who used his crown as a passport and left the rest of us to decide what that means. Papa Wemba wasn't the only legend who dared to break the rules. Watch, the controversial song that sparked a national crisis in 1985. Congo, Franco's Mario, link in the description.